Welcome back to this section, threat hunting approaches. Now, having gathered and trained a team equipped with the necessary tools, telemetry data, and at least somewhat streamlined processes, you are now prepared to start a proactive search for threats in your environment. Today, threat hunters employ several approaches to threat hunting, depending on their expertise, available telemetry, and tools, which I earlier mentioned. To gain a better understanding of the advantages and disadvantages of different approaches, we have to look at the fundamental concept introduced by David J. Bianco in 2013, cleverly dubbed the Pyramid of Pain. It illustrated a breakdown of indicators according to their severity. Now, looking at the pyramid, the levels within the pyramid represent different types of indicators of compromise that can be used to detect malicious activity in your environment. The width of each level reflects the number of possible indicators of this type, whilst its color and position show how much hassle or pain, as it is called, may cause an attacker when their indicators are detected and blocked. For instance, blocking IP addresses or C2 domain names will cause minor irritations to an attacker, since IP addresses can be easily changed and new domains can be registered. However, blocking specific utilities can cause the attacker much greater inconvenience, as they will have to reinvent their tool or develop or purchase a new one in order to evade this protection, which is rather expensive and annoying. Furthermore, the tactics, techniques, and procedures (TTPs), which I mentioned earlier, employed by an adversary can be identified with the help of detection rules. This will cause greatest pain to the intruder, and they will have to either change their techniques, which may be difficult and even impossible, or simple retreat. Now that you understand the concept behind the pyramid of pain, let us turn our attention to the approaches that are currently applied in threat hunting. Now, these are the approaches that are used in threat hunting: the TTPS based approach, the tools based approach, and the Ioc based approach. Now let us look at these individually. Now, the Ioc based approach, the first 4 levels of the pyramid going from the base up, malicious activity is identified through the application of specific indicators. These could be file hashes corresponding to specific hacker tools such as Mimikatz or Empire, if you are familiar with ethical hacking using Kali Linux, or a domain name specific to the hacker's control server. Less volatile indicators would be specific registry keys, change in malware, or user agent strings. Now, tools-based approach, the next level of the pyramid. This approach involves the detection or identifiers associated with specific tools, example, command lines that can be reached from processes, execution events, or attributes of executable files uploaded by EDR solutions such as Sysmon. The TTPS based approach, the top of the pyramid represents tactics, techniques, and procedures. Let us assume that the attacker applies a remote code execution technique to enable lateral movements and gets a foothold in the system. An experienced threat hunter will explore this technique and determine what telemetry data they will need to develop a detection rule. Once ready, the threat hunter applies the respective tools to proactively detect the use of this technique in a protected environment. Now, the most advanced threat hunters tend to use the last two approaches, and we are going to be looking shortly as to how this actually works in light of each approach, or it is applied to a case scenario. So in the next section, we'll be looking at hypothesis testing and the sources of hypothesis. See you in the next section.